and welcome back to another episode of Wandering Monster, America's tabletop showcase. I'm Ian Servas.
I'm Bridget Brave.
I'm Kevin Welch.
I'm Mr. Paschke, and with us tonight is...
Hi, everyone. I'm Jean Luc Lariviere-Lacombe from the Dungeons Key.
And we are showcasing Dirtbags, the latest creative good from Dungeon Key that is going to be kickstarted soon. It is a fun, rough and tumble TTRPG about convicts trying to get their life sentence paid off in service. But don't take it from me, take it from Jean Luc, who is going to give a spiel about what's so fantastic about this game. And then we're going to dive right into the thick of things.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Dirtbags is a sci-fi kind of cinematic shooter RPG based in a corporate-run dystopian world. Whereas, as Ian said, we're kind of taking on the roles of convicts in the RIP, the Rehabilitation Incentive Program. It's a commentary on private prisons where us as individuals are kind of thrown into the machine, churned, spat out, and pitted against swarms of alien bugs, thrown at suicidal missions, going on salvage or courier missions and things of the like.
Fantastic. And this is all coming to Kickstarter soon. And in fact, we're going to be running through a snippet of one of the first one-shots developed for this by M. Allen Hall. And well, I'm not going to give you the title of it to spoil anything. You're going to have to go to the Kickstarter and check it out and make sure that all the stretch goals are unlocked. Now, no penal theme game it'd be remiss if we just jumped into this without having an opportunity to highlight our colorful cast of convicts. But we will need someone to throw themselves upon the altar first to get that bomb collar shackled to their neck first. So who amongst you would like to introduce your character first?
I believe I am the Charles Bernard proxy tonight, so I think that it's only fitting that I do what he never does and go first.
Yeah, coward.
Yes.
Brave of you.
Thank you. So I'm Sebastian Pund. I am the Hin, so I'm a drone pilot. I can command military drones because I am actually wired into their mainframe, completely neurolinked to the cognitive data centers that are used to train the military drones. So you might say I'm an inside man. Should we talk about our offenses? I guess I'm in for corporate espionage and a little bit of arson.
What did your lawyer advise you to say? That's the real question.
He advised me to stop referring to it as a little bit of arson, but I'm going to continue to. So
It's just
yeah.
I'll go next. They call me Big Bucket. I'm just a big chunk of boy walking around. I used to work for an organization, a criminal organization, kind of. I was a bouncer for a nightclub. Made sure people held their own and was acting right. And I the boss would send me out and do a couple things. Take care of some things, get rid of some people. And I got greedy. I started skimming off the top, collecting money from people. And he found out, and then he ratted me out. So I'm doing about 30 years in the pen. 20 of it for killing. I'm sorry. Taking care of loose ends, and then about 10 years for embezzlement. But I mean, I was planning for my future. I didn't see a 401k. I didn't see any sort of retirement plan come along. But they sort of frown upon stealing their money, which kind of sucks too, because I don't know how long I'm going to last. I got this bum ticker. The heart's not doing all that great, so I'm trying to make the best of my last days, I suppose.
Bucket, has your lawyer also advised you not to refer to it as a little bit of homicide?
Well, actually, the public defender, if you will, just told me to keep my sarcastic mouth shut, which I mean, I don't know if it's the sarcasm or the fact that I've got no teeth on the top because they've been punched out through many a fight. But either way, the public defender told me to stop talking. So we'll see if that works out.
I don't mind going next if you guys want.
Fire.
So I'm playing Benny Rowley. This kind of pimply faced, like a 17-year-old kid. But my friends call me Sardine. Type character. He claims, that he's innocent, and he's this sort of loudmouthed kid. He was a water carrier in the Circuit City sweatshops, and he's covered in like weeping chemical sores. His pardonable offenses are extortion and trafficking. And as far as the advice he got from this lawyer was that he should just strike a deal, and the deal landed him in prison for 25 years as a result.
Not the best deal, but we'll see how it pays out in the RAP. And last but certainly not least.
Yeah, last. That's great. Yeah, always. That's terrific. That's fine. It's fine. I'm glad to be last. I'm Cyrus. I don't. What is melanine hollow marbles? Hollow marble? I can't talk tonight.
You're muling hollow marbles.
Muling hollow marbles. So, did I digitally put hollow marbles up my? What is hollow marble a reference for? A internet drug? Do we have internet drugs here?
Could be, yeah. Internet drugs, or maybe something that you might stick into some sort of like New World projector.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I stick the hollow marbles up my pooper, and then get hit in the gut really hard, and then just next thing you know, the original 70mm cut of Star Wars comes blasting out of my butt.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's the director's cut.
Oh. Well, no, we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, so I am I overlooked? Where are you guys seeing your sentence time? Because
what's under our it should say
pardonable offenses.
Pardonable offenses.
Yeah.
Okay, it has now been typed in Fizz 15 years. So yeah, I'm serving 15 years for hollow marbles. I feel like that's a little steep.
Well, were you trafficking the hollow marbles? Because that's.
I mean, let's think about hollow marbles for a second. I mean, what's really the crime here?
Your crime is identity theft. Your background was just that you were this hollow marble mule.
What? Identity theft? Ah, come on. You don't even know who Cyrus is.
Get out of here.
So that's my character.
So all of you are expendable and also a very valuable resource to the corporation, since you were used for handling all kinds of dangers and hazards. In exchange, not only do you get credits in exchange for confirmed kills, sanctioned kills, you can't kill innocent civilians, it will add to your time, but you can complete missions to get additional time off your service. Most of you have multiple offenses, so you are long in the hole. Chances of you getting out or surviving to the end of your term is bleak. So it so happened that you heard of a deal being offered to people for an urgent, time-sensitive mission offering double years. Instead of the one standard year that you get off for completing a mission, you'd get 2 years off. Ooh. And not only on top of that, but you get double credits. None of the details are provided to you until you agree to it, but it seems to be the best option compared to the other gigs you might get assigned to. So the lot of you, the four of you, are shipped into a small autopiloted ship that is on course for Syntech Station. You know that the Syntech industry has their hand in all kinds of different emerging tech coming out, neural links, different kinds of salvaging and repurposing old equipment and refurbishing it for all kinds of multi-use purposes. It's a very large industry. And it seems like there's some type of trouble that's happening on one of their laboratory orbital stations. The briefing doc that you get, which is piped extremely loudly from your caller, just blasting, all of you being confined to a small tin can, or just hearing 4 times like this reverberating bounce off and off the same mission briefing. So some of you may have some ear damage by the bottom, by the end of this, but after your hearing comes back to you, you kind of piece it together that the bugs have entered the station. It sounds like at some point there was some type of issue. The bugs have been infiltrating their way through the system and being a nuisance. Not much is really known about the bug threat other than that they are consuming planets wholesale, and this area is highly threatened by them. So the station just seems to have some type of small bug problem. You haven't heard any communications from the station in over a week, and when a SecOp detachment went to investigate, they screamed a whole bunch into the radio that they were overrun by bugs, and the transmission cut out. Small bug problem. So your mission to handle the small bug problem is to sneak into the ship and activate the self-destruct button. Minor, easy task. So your caller does allow for you to communicate with your remote handlers if there's anything you need. Other than that, you know that you've gotten your replenishment of milk, that energizing fluid, that cola, concentrated cola that you can inject into your veins. All of you have the standard outfit that has been issued to you. Your weapon mags are full. Is there anything you need or any clarifications you need to your briefing?
So, do we know anything about these bugs? Like, are they more like mantises? Or are we talking pill bugs? Are we talking like asymmetric tentacle things?
Are you asking from the corpo perspective, or are you going by what you're hearing from your fellow dirtbags?
Dirtbags.
So each of you have heard something different about the bug menace. The news will say that they're mostly just innocent bugs. Some of them do look like pill bugs. They're not that big of a threat. The rest of the dirtbags and people would say that these are terrible menaces in varying forms that can consume people wholesale. There are packs of small bugs that will chew off people's limbs. What's the worst thing you've heard about these bugs? Everyone can kind of go round robin and talk about the horrors that they've heard from fellow survivors.
Oh, last I heard, buddy of mine, Tommy, he got caught up with some of these bugs, and he got surrounded. They just kept injecting him with eggs, like through a proboscis into his body, and then they end up eating him alive and then bursting out and then scattering on it. Yeah, I don't like bugs very much.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
I heard that that's not even the worst of it, that there's some now that are bigger.
Lovely.
Yeah, they can squash you while they're trying to inject their eggs inside of you.
So, is it like a tentacle that goes in your butt that injects the eggs?
Kind of like a mosquito, just like a little, just stabs you and then just pumps the eggs right into your
No, it depends on the bug, because some bugs have different areas that they like to put the eggs in. So
the question is, are we sure that those were hollow marbles?
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Look, I'm just let me look. I heard there's a brain bug, that a smart bug, that can eat your brain. This isn't a rip off of a thing in my brain.
I would like to learn more. So you can see that your ship is on an intercept course for Syntic Station. From the outside, this is a fairly large station that has lots of different modules attached to them. You can see that towards the front where the solar arrays are, there's a secondary docking station for smaller craft. You see various large shapes. It almost looks like a bridge, like system of bridge or ladders that are all put together with various stations being part of this. You can tell that your craft is being piloted in towards a very large blocky structure, which presumably, looking at the amount of in and out bay doors upon it, is a cargo holding area. You can see from the outside that there is some type of damage that's been done to the exterior of the surface. Almost looks like it's been broadsided by a scattershot, asteroid, shower, something like that. You know that bugs frequently put their eggs or will be transported by asteroid and meteorite showers. So that could be part of this. But overall, the system itself looks mostly intact. You should be able to expect breathable air, but in the low glimmering light of the system, it does give this strong sense of foreboding and discomfort. The bay door opens. It almost seems to be yawning as it swallows your ship. It's completely dark inside, and after your ship docks, emergency lights flood into your bay. It repressurizes, and you see an internal bay door opened into the cargo area. After that, your ship powers off, and your door automatically kicks open. All of your collars burst at once, like a little klaxon sound, and you feel your timer kick on in your bomb collar. You have 24 standard solar hours to activate the self-destruct, or you will be self-destructed. No pressure.
Who's the de facto leader of this little ragtag crew?
Good question.
Not I.
Really? We're going to want corporate espionage to do it here? I mean... And also, I have a question. Why does the smart bug eat brains?
Well, that's what I heard. Okay, I saw it somewhere. I don't know. That's a rumor. I also heard they can play keyboard, but that might have been something else.
For that, I think he should be the one to go explore first.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I'll kind of put my hand on his back and kind of push him forward for Mr. Paschke.
So I've been shoved into the abyss, the breach,
the yawning maw of darkness. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're right behind you.
You hear a hollow marble like clink to the floor.
Please tell me whenever you get nervous, you're just going to hear the sound of marbles dropping.
Where's
John? Come back for a rainy day. All right, so yeah, I'll go in. I'll first this. Yeah. Are there any bugs here? Say hi. If you don't, then you're not allowed to attack me.
Are you saying that from the confines of your ship, or are you saying that as you move into the cargo bay?
As I move into the cargo bay.
Okay. And do you arm yourself?
Yes, of course. I have my machine gun.
Hey, I don't know what you're doing. So when you step into the cargo bay, there is this scent of machine oil, the lingering scent of iron or blood in the background, and you see it piled in various little like little pyramids or just like piles are dead bugs. They look something similar to a cockroach, but they seem to have too many legs to it and malformed wings. They seem to be, from a distance, maybe perforated or slightly crushed. You see that along the walls in here, there are tons of, look like bullet holes. Something large must have happened here. In the very center of the room, there is a large crane with its claws wide open.
Okay. Hey guys, I think they're all dead. You should come in. It's safe. It's very safe.
Yeah, I think Sardine will sort of nervously, grab the service pistol, from inside of the ship and then attach it to his person. Maybe there's a holster on his hip, and he'll check it 2 or 3 times and just shakily enter the cargo bay alongside the others.
As you are making your preparations, you can see not only there are all these damage along the wall, there are some various exits from this place. Giving a relative position as if the cargo bay door that your ship is docked in would be solar north as far as a compass. That to the northwest from here, there is a secondary door that seems to be marked with a ID tag for an officer's passage leading deeper into the ship. There is a large reinforced door that looks to be shuttered for the security offices. A hatch that is marked for the station's crew quarters. The door is splattered with blood and gore. And around a corner to the southwest from here is a door that just says scientist quarter. All of these doors are on the west side of the cargo bay, going from the northwest down to the southwest.
I'm thinking there might be some useful information in the scientist area. I'm going to go check that out. Does anyone want to go with?
I'll follow.
Okay. As you cross through the cargo bay and cross underneath the crane claw, roll me 2d6.
Oh boy. Four and a 5.
All right. Okay. Sebastian, as you are getting closer to the scientist quarter, you feel this prickling sensation that begins to crawl across your body. You taste static in your mouth, and you can see that where these piles of bugs are, it looks like they were trying to burrow through the floor. There is exposed paneling, and there are live wires that are sparking. From here to the door is it's just that you see that there is this waves of electricity that's passing through the floor. By the scientist quarter door, you see that there is a terminal that is sparking and flashing as these parasolic waves of electricity is flowing through here.
Oh my gosh. I'm Sebastian. I thought I was not Sebastian. I keep thinking of myself as him. Okay, so yeah.
What is your preferred name?
No, it's Sebastian, but Hin is at the beginning, so I keep seeing Hin and being like, "Oh, that's not me."
We can call you whatever you want to be called.
I'm fine. Now that I've accepted Sebastian. Now that I realize I am. So, does anyone else feel like they're about to get struck by lightning over here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the remainder of my teeth are tingling.
I just choose not to go over there. Solves the problem.
Let's see. I mean, I guess we could avoid it, but that seems like.
How big is the gap in the floor where all the exposed wires are?
It's various. So there are some panels that look like they were completely peeled back, and other ones where this looks like there is large bite marks. So if you were to just run through this area, you're likely to step on a live wire and get some form of nasty shock. If you're careful and take time to move through here more slowly, you're not likely to step on something, but you get this uncomfortable feeling of being watched. You think you see maybe movement, or maybe it's just your nerves, but there's a lot of vents up along the ceiling, and you swear you're being watched.
What if I choose to Catherine Zeta-Jones it through the wires, like an elaborate acrobatic act?
Then you can choose to roll dice to do that, to impress or intimidate your fellow dirtbags. Is that what you're wanting to do as a chance?
Well, I'm hoping it will also, kind of intimidate whatever's watching us.
It could be a twofer. And remember, you can roll. So in this game, we are using dice pools based off of the stats that the characters have. So you can bid as many dice as you would like to roll for this, but keep in mind, when you fail, like on each die, if you fail your threshold, then that gets locked in your reserve until you rest or use an energizer.
Okay, I'm going to go for 3.
I love it. Do you also kind of like the Venus sisters do some type of high-pitched shriek or some type of cool catchphrase as you
It's more like a yodel, really.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Sebastian, since this is normal difficulty, that you need a 4, 5, or 6 on each die for that to be a success. If you succeed, you keep that die in your action pool. Otherwise, it gets shunted into your reserve.
I really wish you could see this in the reflection of my glasses. It's a 6, 4, and a 4. It rolled as you said that.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, give us your best yodel.
Yeah.
I fully expected a Patrick Lee.
No, I definitely upset a cat though with that.
Sardine is thoroughly intimidated.
Yes.
The best part of this, when you are doing your cartwheels, you are flinging yourself between these actinic arcing live wires, your greasy knee-length hair just begins to float in air, the grease just dripping off of it as the static just washes your body over, but you flip your way through all the way to the door. You see the door looks like it's had some type of like gnawing or blast damage, maybe from a shotgun. And you see that the terminal next to it is constantly trying to power on, but it keeps having a short circuit. The door itself does not look like it is locked. How would you like to proceed? Or if anyone else has an action, call it out.
If not, I'm just going to kick this door open.
Yeah, just as you're doing that, I'd like to think that maybe Sardine is taking the cautious approach. Perhaps he was maybe even a third of the way across by the time this yodeling Sebastian goes flying overhead. But I'll be making my way across relatively carefully as well.
So we're in space. Is it just like a regular conventional door, or is it like Star Trek where it goes
pocket doors?
Well, this is a scientist quarter. It has to make that sci-fi sound, or it's not a scientist quarter.
Okay. So maybe we can't kick it in. We got to pry it open.
I could try to kick it and then fall through it when it opens. That could.
Failing forward. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that what you are planning to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Then as you go ahead and kick it, You kick it hard with that. I'm imagining your momentum is moving you forward. So you start to get that pocket door sci-fi sound and then a clunking resonating sound as you break the door off of its hinges. You see that there was more damage by bug chewing than you thought, and it just falls off of its hinges. Part of the door keeps trying to recess, and it just makes that sci-fi sound over and over and over again in a loud loop sound. As you look into the space beyond, you see through the flickering hazard lights that there are several bunks here. The smell of blood is intense. It's gone from fresh blood to putrefaction. You see that there are bodies in each bed, and there are six bunk rooms off of this main quarter. So it's like you have yourself a main hostel area and then 6 individual closed doors leading to little hab units.
So it looks like everybody's dead.
Did you check their bodies to see if bugs came out?
I'm not doing that. You do that.
No, you're closest. You can. You're. Look,
I got us through the door. You check the bodies.
I don't feel like I should be the one to do that.
Fine. I'll check the bodies, and
All
I'll
right,
make my
Bucket.
way across the hallway into the doorway and start checking bodies.
Then roll me D6.
Yeah, all right. 4.
Yes.
Is it squirming? Is the body squirming like there's something inside of it underneath?
The spooky voice hasn't told me yet.
All right. So when you enter into this room, you have this feeling that, like, that feeling of being watched is more, and the hairs on the back of your neck begin to stick up. And it's not just the static charged air behind you. You see that one of the bodies is squirming just a bit. You're not sure if the person is alive or if there's something wrong with it. It's making a very soft, wet, squelching sound as it's beginning to thrash on the bed.
And still covered in a blanket?
No. You just see a ragged shirt, and it is thrashing. It doesn't have the dignity of a sheet over it.
Yeah, we got one squirming. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say that I've got presumably a stethoscope of some kind that I might be using as a kind of a sort of combat medic or pill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's still alive. I might be able to keep it going. Let me have a look. And I also like to cross into the room and see if I can't investigate what's going on with this body.
As you get closer to it, the thrashing in the body becomes stronger and stronger. You hear a moaning sound coming from the body, the person, ? And you see, as they begin to go into some form of seizure, that there's something that sticks out of its chest straight out, like a thin tube or needle, and then another one, and the corpse, it back arches, and then there's this snapping sound as 3 large winged insects burst from its chest. They look like something that you've heard from what was on Earth, that were almost like mosquito-like creatures. Has a large proboscis out front and a large blood sacs. You see one of them has a slightly shriveled sack on the back of it, and it quivers as it sees you. It has far too many eyes. It makes this high-pitched, keening white noise sound as it sees you. So we're going to engage in an initiative, and we're going to do the round robin starting with Dirtbags, because Dirtbags should go first because the odds are stacked against them. As you hear this high-pitched keening sound, you think you hear more high-pitched dog whistle sounds echoing throughout the facility all around you. I'm going to give you the first initiative, Benny, since you were trying to do the right and noble thing, holding out your stethoscope to help this person, and you see these 3 terrible insects burst from the body of this. I'm going to judge that you don't need to make a nerve save because you've seen a whole bunch of trauma as a combat medic, but it is still unnerving. What is your course of action?
Yeah, Benny is going to. Well, I think he's slightly panicked. I'm not sure if he's seen death or viscera in sort of this fashion before. My goodness, and I'll try to take a step back, so to get out of harm's way. So maybe leave the room, and draw my firearm, and then unload onto the creatures.
All right, how many dice are you wanting to fire?
I'm gonna roll. So I'm gonna roll 3 for the action, and then I'll roll 2. Oh my God! I just got 3 failures, 2, 2, and a 1.
Ooh.
I'm still in the room, but
Then before you start firing your gun, because I thought you were a little bit more resolved. It sounds like you're beginning to panic here as you're beginning to have a weapon malfunction. I want you now to roll me a nerves, your resistance to prevent an emotional outburst.
Oh, I got another 2.
Fantastic. I love that. Then roll me D6.
3.
Okay. So tell me how your gun malfunctions as you begin to go into a panic, and then we'll tell you what your emotional outburst is.
I'd like to think that that Sardine is overly cautious and doesn't walk around with a round in the chamber. But as he racked his slide, naturally, maybe his own perspiration had kind of made things a little bit slick, and one of the rounds gets caught in the chamber as he's trying to rack his pistol. And
you said you rolled a 3 on your emotional outburst?
I did, yeah.
You have a nervous breakdown. You have this panic where you want to run backwards as far as you can. Roll me D6 to see how many rounds you are fleeing.
6.
Okay, so that's 3 rounds because it's round down, and you're running straight backwards. And I feel terrible because you are the creator of this game, and I'd like you to remember that you're fleeing backwards as fast as you can, right through the electrified grid of 4.
Go on, tell me more.
So, with your reduced action pool, I need you to roll at disadvantage to not get shocked through the live wires.
That's fine. I got this. Let's go. A 2 and a 6. Let's go.
Okay, so one success that will carry you. So in a mad panic, you are trying to reload. You're trying to unjam and reload your gun at the same time while panicking. And as you're running backwards, just hyperventilating, you're getting very keenly aware that you're hearing rattling coming from the vents in this room, and that's not really helping your panicking. So we're in the round robin fashion. From my view, the next person in initiative would be Big Bucket. You just watched your medic just freak out and run backwards, shrieking while punching his gun. There are these 3 giant mosquito-like creatures coming for you. What do you do?
Well, I had my shotgun. I was in hand, and I'm looking at these things coming. I was like, these are the same sons of bitches that took out Sardine. What the hell? Where are you going? Hi. And then I'm gonna try to fire a shot off at least one of these mosquitoes.
That's great because you're in the perfect range for your shotgun to maximize your hit multiplier. So how many dice are you wanting to use on your action to fire?
I think I will do 3.
All right.
All 4s.
Fantastic. You are even keeled under pressure. It's like you're used to murdering. So now, how many dice of your ammo are you wanting to roll? So each time you get a success, you can get a hit. Keep in mind, since you have your shotgun, you have your hit multiplier of ×2. So every one success counts as 2 hits against these terrible buzzing mosquito creatures.
I think I'm going to do 2 dice.
Okay.
And those are both 2s.
All right. So you fire in a cone, inflicting 4 total hits. The first 2 of those mosquito-like creatures burst. You hit one that had a relatively still full sack, and it splatters blood across the back of the room. You see it dripping down where the main exit door is for this. And you notice for the first time that there is a terminal on the other side of the room that lights up as it gets splattered with blood. It looks like there is some type of message that was queued up on this machine that may or may not have been sent. The other mosquito begins to close in your direction. You can still do another action if you want, because your bones is 2. Do you want to make any other actions on your turn?
I think after I take the shot and take out, you said I took out 2 of them?
Correct. There were 3 that you see.
Okay. I think I might step back and out of the way so that anybody behind me can do something and I'm not in the line of fire.
Sure. As a correction, your firing is a free action, so if you're wanting to make movements, you could do this 2 of those movement actions. So that in mind, does that change what you want to do?
No, I think that's what I'm going to do, is just get out of the, pull off to the side so somebody behind me, because I frankly don't want to get shot in the back or in the front or at all. So
now you could also hold an action if you want to release, like, since you have your 2 main actions, you can hold an action if you would like for later, or if you want. I'm not leading you on.
No. Yeah, I think I can do that as well.
So you fall back in a position, training a weapon on this one, waiting for other threats. Next in initiative is you, Sebastian, aka Hen.
Okay, I want to fire my flamethrower because I got to fire this flamethrower.
Let's do it.
Of course, naturally. It feels also like another time that you have to use some type of catchy action phrase, because a flamethrower is too cool not to say something. But that's up to you if you want to.
All right, and then I'll do that when I do my roll. Let's see how my roll goes before.
Okay, how many dice are you allocating?
I'm doing 3 for this one.
All right.
So that's straight 2s across the board.
Okay, so all 3 of those get sunk into your reserve, and you don't fire your flamethrower. You big dummy, you forgot to light the pilot light. Like, what were you thinking? But you still have other actions. You can attempt to, you can do a movement. You can try, I believe, Jean Luc, you could try again, right? With your remaining action? The action dice?
So generally you get you can use your action pool once per turn. Rules is written, but there's obviously a lot of flexibility in terms of how the game is played. And firing your weapon actually doesn't require you to use your action pool at all. You can just start rolling ammunition right away. So there's no need to declare that I'm firing my weapon. For instance, you can simply just say that you are, pull the trigger, and unleash hell.
So you could have just rolled ammo dice, right?
100%.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought you were aiming your first time. I misunderstood that.
yeah.
So we can always retcon the extra action. So it is just straight using ammo then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
So that I could use 6 dice.
Well,
my ammunition is 6.
You could keep in mind that will consume your entire canister.
Okay, yeah, let's do.
And you have 1 canister.
Yeah.
And it also depends on whether or not it's semi-automatic versus automatic as well.
It's semi, so they can use up to 3 of their 6 ammo dice with the Zen Candlelight flamethrower, because there are 2 flamethrowers.
Right.
That's right.
Keep in mind also, if this adjudicates anything, that Your flamethrower does extra damage, is why you have 1 canister. So every 1 success counts as 2 hits, and your targets burn for 1 hit per round.
All right, let's try this
so
again.
For D2 rounds. So you may want to do a small control burst in the fact that you're going to be doing more damage over time, just as an FYI.
All right, so then I'll just do 2.
Okay.
Now let's see. Come on. It's a 5 and a 2.
Ooh.
Okay. So that still counts as 2 hits. So you catch that other bug on fire, and it makes this terrible high-pitched keening screech as it begins to crisp and crinkle and crack as it catches on fire. As it falls to the ground, you hear a terrible thumping coming from some of the doors that are on the south side of this room to those individual pods. There are things inside those rooms that are throwing themselves against the doors. Meanwhile, you, Benny, Sardine, you hear things coming from the ducts in the cargo room. The lights flicker for just a second as you think you hear more claws beginning to accumulate. But that could just be the panic attack. So at the end of this round, bugs are going to go.
Don't I get to?
Well, I was doing my round robin, so my round robin would be bugs then. But we'll go ahead. We'll do all dirtbags and then bugs, just since everyone's view is different in OBS.
I mean, it's fine. You're the GM.
No.
As long as I know where I'm at in line, I'm okay being in line.
No, I will just shuffle what things are happening. That can't be a bad thing at all. No, not at all. So, Oramus, what do you want to do?
All the bugs are dead, or are they still flying?
You don't see any. You are hearing bugs behind doors that look like they are beginning to buckle open from inside the scientist quarter, and you are beginning to hear things in the vents inside the main cargo bay.
Okay, and what am I closest to? The scientist doors or the vents?
I believe that you got close to the scientist quarters without going into the scientist quarter, correct? I'm assuming you took time to go through the maze of live wires.
Yeah.
So you're outside, you're just on the threshold, so you could advance in, or there's no real good place to say where's the safe place to stand.
Okay. Knee-jerk reaction, if I hear things in the vents, I'm just going to shoot at the vents.
Okay, I like that. So from here, you see that there is a vent that is up above you to the left. You see that there's also a vent on the far side, closer to where you came in. They're very large, shiny, typical vents that you would see in an action movie.
Cool. Let's see if I can shoot Bruce Willis. I'm going to go with 2 of my 5. That's a 4 and a 2 to shoot the vent.
So you are firing blindly, not having an exact target, but we'll see how that plays out. Go ahead and roll me. So you have 1 success, but give me a D6.
Okay. 4.
Okay. So as you fire wildly, and for the audience at home, you're firing your SM2 Raid submachine gun, which seems very appropriate since you're fighting bugs. You fire just this absolute blast salvo, this peppering the wall as you are screaming into it, and the hatch door just blows off. You see that there is one of those cockroach type things that are kind of in the piles around your feet. One of them falls out. You see that it's been hit a few times and it's leaking some type of custardy yellow fluid from it as it makes a warbly screech and falls down. But you see that there are 2 more of those bugs coming behind it. The one that you shot is on its back, legs twitching, but it's trying to right itself.
Okay. I would call it to the group like, guys, they're out here too. They're out here. So that was my action to shoot. I am nearby everybody. I would kind of like back up towards like my nearest teammate to kind of like, not get ambushed.
I believe that's Big Bucket.
Yeah. So Big Bucket, like back to back, got a machine gun facing the other way.
I'm disappointed that you invoked Die Hard, but you didn't say ho ho ho.
I mean, it is the season, but
season.
I figure once we kill the big one, then we can get the big line from that movie.
Okay. So then at the top of the initiative, the bugs that spewed out of that first grate, the one that has the wound in it that you had inflicted, is going to scuttle on over to you, Oramus. It shuffles and almost seems like it has a limp. Even though it has too many legs, it seems slightly pathetic, but it seems to be chittering in this high-pitched burst sound like it might be communicating to the other bugs. The bugs in the vent begin to follow its lead as it moves in towards you. The creature, it opens up a series of mandibles as if it folds out two and then two underneath it, almost like a predator mouth on a cockroach. It moves in to take a bite out of you, and it seems to be dripping some type of green goo. And then Jean Luc, in this, for them, are they basically just treating that as a resistance as far as combat, or do the bugs make an attack?
So bugs don't make an attack. It's up to players to roll for defense, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would have to use either your ammunition or your action pool, or a combination of the two, as long as it makes sense thematically.
All right. So that being in mind, since you've considering your dice pool, Oramus, how would you like to defend, with ammo or with action dice? Keeping in mind that both are dwindling economy until you take a breather or use an energizer.
So I succeeded with one. That dice is still spent. I'm just trying to keep track of my pool.
If you have a success with an action die, it stays. If you've used ammo is consumed regardless and goes into your reserve until you reload.
Okay, and my action die was a 4, so that was a success, right?
Correct.
Cool. All right, so I have all 5 of those. Have 3 of those. I will go with another ammo die to try and shoot the bug as it comes at me. That's a 4.
Okay. Then in that case, that's not considered. So that defense just negates the attack and doesn't act.
That's right. It mitigates the hit, but it doesn't act as a hit against the.
Fantastic. I like that the system is very easy to use and it is pretty intuitive. Nice having a living rule book with you. It's a unique treat for me.
For the record, I'm looking at the actual rule book while you guys are. I
didn't realize you had a beta print. How nice is that?
Yeah, I just got it done for PAX. Had I known, we could have probably got you guys a copy even sooner.
Oh, neat. I'm using the version 0.8, so cool.
That's right.
So you fire and you take it, so it sidesteps out of the way and makes a very disappointed grunt. As you fire towards it, you see the other skitters that are following behind it almost stop in their pace, because that salvo is so close to them, and they seem to make this high-pitched series of chirps between the lot of them. One of them in the back begins to climb up through the wall, and the other seems to be torn between following the wounded one. Inside the room where you are standing, Sebastian, aka Hen, the thumping is louder, and you see that 3 of those doors inside of the scientist corner blow inward. The bugs that come out are twice the size of some of those large cockroach ones, but they have large luminescent sacs on the underside that are swelling and pulsating. That's this kind of virulent green, and they move forward. Their mouths or their mandibles completely distend, and you see these wisps of gas begin to pour out of it as they I would say beeline towards you, but it's more like a roach line towards you. The first one moves forward, and you hear a series of clicking sounds, and its cheeks puff out, and looks like it's going to be breathing on you or shooting some type of substance from its sacs. How would you want to defend?
I'm going to use the rest of my canister on him. Let's just unload this.
All right, but after that, you have no weapon besides your drone.
I have my drone.
Okay, just making sure. So you are unloading the rest of your canister to avoid the attack. You're not doing damage to them. Okay. Go ahead and roll the rest of your ammo pool.
The rest of my ammo pool?
That's what I thought you said you were using. I mean, are you using an action dice, and then you're trying to use like you're trying to move out of the way, or
sorry, I thought I only had 2 turns with my canister. So
it's how many dice? So you're
okay. Then I'll just do another 2 at them.
Okay.
Nice.
So go ahead and roll those.
5 and a 3.
So the 5 is a success. So you're able to dodge the attack. It begins to breathe out some type of noxious gas, but you lay down a withering salvo of flames. It makes like a puff pop sound as it catches on fire, and it burns whatever that gas was. There is a lingering noxious odor in the air, and the bugs are not dissuaded by the fire, but they are still holding their ground. Next, there is, as in your flight, Benny, you see that the vents on the other side of the room, the north side, are beginning to bow inward, but they haven't broken in yet. You can see what looks to be like some proboscis sticking through the vent grills, but they are not able to break in yet. Top of the initiative, that goes to you, Sardine, aka Benny.
Yeah. I think I might still be panicking. I think I'd roll.
You have 2 more rounds of that.
Yep.
Are you running back to the ship, or where do you run in your mortal terror?
So, bugs to the left of me, bugs to the right. Here I am. I'm really
Stuck
not
in the
sure.
middle.
Stuck in the middle with you. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have to run back to the ship here. I've run through those wires. I've run past, and I'm going to try to get to the ship, lay low, and hide. Basically, I'm just mortified.
As you are running past, I'd like you to roll me a d6 just to represent your nerves as you run past a series of these storage crates.
It's a 4.
Okay, you notice in your panic, and it kind of takes a second for you to realize that one of these crates is full of some form of explosive. You don't have the wherewithal to grab any of them, but you note it as you continue to screech and scream your way back to the ship. As you get back to the ship, you notice that the underside of the ship is completely encrusted with those giant cockroach-looking things, and it looks like they've been chewing through the various undercarriage of the ship. They all look at you with beady eyes, and they hiss.
Good times.
Next in initiative, Bucket.
Yes.
So you're back to back with your friend. You've just you've seen bugs break in through doors, and Sebastian's laying down fire. What's your instinct?
It's not like I want to shoot my whole load in the first room, but I do have a fragment grenade. But then we also have this blinking light over this monitor.
Well,
okay. I think I'm just gonna take another shot with the shotgun, and then move my way to the monitor where that blinking message is. So
okay.
I'm going to do 2 ammo dice.
All right.
Those are 2s as well.
Now, keep in mind, since this works out better in a short format like ours, but everyone has at least one dose of milk that they can use. That's the muscular intravenous liquid cola that's in your neck bomb collar that you can use. And you can use that to re-roll any number of dice, get advantage in your dice roll, neutralize hits, and some other benefits that are on your character sheet. Not saying you have to use it now, but just to remind everyone that that is an option. The benevolent corporations care about you.
Adjusting that collar on my neck, I'm like, oh, not yet. And then I'm gonna kind of back my way over to the blinking monitor.
All right.
Is it going to take an action to read what's on there, or is that was that soaked up with the shotgun blast?
So no, you can take the action to manipulate the terminal. Since you are since you're an ape, I'd say, if you're doing a service level interaction with the terminal, it's not going to cost you any action dice. But if you're wanting to do any like a deeper probe, then it will. Are you just kind of looking to see what's on there? Or are you trying to hack the mainframe?
I'm not trying to hack the mainframe. I'm trying to see what surface information I can get off.
Okay.
Of this.
So the first thing that you see is that there is a medical report that looks like it hasn't been sent. And the first thing that you see is a message from an unidentified scientist referencing the lead scientist, Professor Leopold Granist. You see from a very cursory things, you kind of wipe off the gore that's on the screen, that you see some notes about interfacing with bugs, with robotic interfaces, and improved drone utilization, something like that.
Gross.
And then, of course, you see lots of just requests for help, and then a lot of fatality counters, other information that's just laid on the screen as a series of pop-ups.
Okay, I will screenshot that and I will save it.
Wonderful. Next at initiative. So, Sebastian, you laid down
My
some of that
suppressing
fire.
fire. Yes.
And you see these 2 bugs right in your space.
Let's just get rid of the rest of this flamethrower canister.
Okay. So go ahead and squeeze out the last bit of that.
They're both 1s.
Now, not only have you burnt out your canister, but you also have a weapons malfunction. You know, that's the sad thing, is that you've just used up your canister. So fortunately for you, your flamethrower doesn't, explode in your face, but it is somehow both jammed and empty at the same time, which doesn't make sense. But in the far future, technology does not like you. So you now have a very unwieldy, heavy club. What would you like to do instead, or do you want to use your milk?
Can I swing the flamethrower at them?
I'm pretty sure you could use that as an improvised weapon. It's maybe not be the most effective thing, but it's probably better than using your fist.
Let's do this. So is that an action?
I'm going to have that be, it's going to be considered to be on the bones side of things. So,
okay. So I'm going to do 3 dice on this one.
So for you, you're the, yeah, I guess that count because it's one action you could do and you'd still be using your action pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 1, 5, and a 3.
Okay. I will say that you were able to get 1 hit off of your giant club that you were using to hit this giant bug with a swelling sacs. So that's 1 hit, and it has a pretty thick carapace when you smash into it. It gives you this grunt, and there's a puff of green smoke, and it somehow seems insulted. There's something about the mandibles and how they click together in irritation. You think you've just kind of pissed off and then also somehow disappointed this bug. The bug behind it just grunts and gives the best approximation of a shrug a giant bug can give.
Fair.
In fact, both of the bugs turn and do a chortle. The bug in the back shrugs again and slinks back into the room it came out of. You don't have a really good feeling about that. There's something really strange about these bugs, and you've always thought that these bugs were a mindless force, but being up close in front, they seem to be a bit smarter than you would expected. Anything else you'd like to do?
No, I'm gonna kind of think about my decisions in life. Yeah.
Chastised by bugs. That's the worst way to go.
Yeah, I don't want to follow up that.
Oramus, so you were back to back with Big Bucket before he fired and went into the room. You hear the kind of exchange of bugs. What is your action?
So I was back to back with Bucket. So my knee jerk would be to follow him in there, getting away from the bug attacking me. I first action would be kind of like to call over to him, be like, "Hey, anything good on the monitor that we should know about?"
Nothing good, but there's a bunch of shit on the monitor.
It's not helpful.
No, it's not.
Okay. So I don't know about your rope. Was that a robotic thing from earlier that like they were trying to control the bugs that the voice from that Ian said?
You talking about from your mission briefing?
Well, I thought Kevin was reading over the monitor.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I would have read it out loud.
You read that out loud?
Yeah, I would have read it out loud.
Cool. Then I'd be like, does it say where that is? Because I have a multi-tool. Can we control the bugs? Is my new thing in my brain.
I don't think it says. Or does it?
Can I double check his work? Can I look at
You can. So you are slinking past the bugs that were approaching towards you, past the giant swollen bug with the green sacks under it, and just traipse your way over to the terminal nonchalantly. Is what I'm gathering.
Hey, Mike, how's the wife and kids?
The bug that just chastised Sebastian just looks at you incredulously as you've just somehow interrupted the exchange they just had, but doesn't attack you as you move past it. And instead, it gives you a real stern look, and you think you see one of its mandibles flash out at you. It turns back and begins to scuttle back towards where the other bug went. You're not sure what that means either. So you're at the terminal. What is it you're wanting to do?
I'm wanting to figure out where they were doing the bug controlling experiments, because the fact that it didn't attack me when I just like called it Mike and walked by, like, is this a we attacked first so they attack us situation, and because I stopped attacking they're good?
So when you start to go into the terminal, you see that there's some type of static and interference that begins to wash over the screen. It seems like something is either hacking into the system or there's some type of data corruption that's beginning to consume the terminal. If you want to try to keep interacting with it, it's going to require a nerves check.
Okay. And because it's software, the multi-tool will do nothing. That's fine.
You could certainly use a multi-tool to try to work with the computer. You just might damage it rather than do anything you want to, but that can't stop you.
That sounds like a bad idea, Charles. Don't do that. Okay. I'm going to do 2 for my nerves check. That's 2 2s. So that's 2 failures?
Yes. So those dice are now in the dice jail.
I've never seen
a 50% chance of success. Like this is. It doesn't feel that way. Right
Welcome
now.
to Wandering Monster. All the guys hate you, and your GM loves you. Okay, so as you are trying to interact with that, maybe your finger's slipping on the screen because of the gore, but the entire screen becomes glitched and then it fizzles out. There's this pop as if there is some type of tube inside of it that like just breaks and the terminal goes dead.
What did you do?
When you look back where you came, the bugs that were pursuing you seem to have gone back into the vents, or they weren't where they were. Now, Sebastian / Benny, when you are in the back of this cargo bay, still hyperventilating and muttering to yourself, you start to notice that there's a bit of an odd kind of hush in the cargo bay. You look up and you see the vent where just a few minutes ago there were bugs that were just trying to beat their way in and trying to knock off the grill. They seem to have retreated and it's quiet. And in fact, as you begin to catch your breath and you look underneath the ship that was just a few moments ago completely plastered in bugs, they seem to have vanished. There's a little bit more kind of this unquiet, and that sinking pit in your sinking feeling in your stomach begins to get worse. You're still in a panicking state. Is there anything you're wanting to do or say as you are noticing something is happening and it's making you more paranoid?
It's like the calm before the storm. I think something else is coming. It's something they might be afraid of. Get me out of here. And I will just throw myself into the ship, presumably below some of, some of the seating, hiding in sort of this sheer panic, and just covering my eyes, not wanting to see what's coming next.
The inside of the ship looks like there's been some substantial damage, but you're able to find some cover. You see that their bugs have had some very decisive bites into certain power cables and structures on the inside. So it is dark. You're not sure if it's comforting or if it makes it feel tomb-like. You're starting to feel your nerves come back to you. So hopefully you'll steady yourself and be functional again. But if not, well, at least you have a place to hide where everyone else gets eaten by the bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Bucket. So the bugs that you were just fighting have retreated, and there's an odd sense of calm. The terminal's dead.
Mm-hmm.
You have an exit out of here. There are doors to some of these individual scientist pods that haven't been opened. You can see that there are foot lockers for the beds where these corpses are laying. What do you want to do?
I don't like the fact that the bugs have just all of a sudden decided they're going to skip out. I know we're supposed to be here to blow this thing up, but I mean the foot lockers, they may have some loot in there, so I might want to check some of these foot lockers, see if there's anything that maybe to help Sebastian, being as they've expended everything out of their flamethrower.
Yes, find me some fuel.
I'll do my best.
If it had been specified, the door that's by the terminal, the sign says mess hall. That's what's on the other side of that door. Looking at these foot lockers, go ahead and roll me 1d6. Actually, roll me 2 1d6s.
Both of those are ones.
That can't be bad at all. No.
What could possibly go wrong?
The first thing is, it's oddly quiet.
Mm-hmm.
More so than when you first got here, which is unnerving. As you open up the first foot locker, you find that there are lab coats. There's a picture, like a hand drawing that says, "I love you, Daddy, Happy Father's Day," and some candy wrappers. and you see that there is a ID badge, like it's a security badge that you can use to get through keycard doors.
Okay. Rifling through here, tossing the lab coat, tossing the picture, and the candy wrappers, and I'm going to pick up the key card and hang on to that one.
Do you want to search through any other lockers or any other action you'd like to do?
Well, the bugs are starting to creep me out, being as it's so damn quiet, but there's stuff to be searched, so I'll go through one more and see if there's anything else that we can come up with before trying to blow this sumbitch up.
All right. So as you open, roll me a d6.
It's a 6.
Okay. So as you are going through here, there are more lab coats. There is a pocket protector with several pens that seem to have ruptured. And then there are 3 giant syringes in here, and it's just marked with ANX.
Syringes that say ANX?
These are a common energizer. They're used to prevent emotional outbursts, and they effectively increase your nerves by 2 for an hour.
I will hand syringes to the 2 that are in here. Keep one for myself. And sorry, Sardine, you skipped out. And then I think we should probably check another room, see if there's where the self-destruct thing is. Personally.
All right, since we're basically effectively out of combat, we'll go back to just narrative actions. If anybody needs to take a breather, you can do so, but keep in mind that time is of the essence, and a breather outside of combat, a little short rest, takes about 15 minutes. So think about your choices.
So naturally, I think at this point, Sardine comes out of hiding and just says, "Is everything all right out there? Is it safe to come out?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Everything's gone. Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mess with the bugs, they don't mess with you. We figured it out.
Oh, okay. I'll come sauntering out and see how everyone's faring.
There was other doors that we can check out.
Yeah.
From inside the cargo door, you know that the signs will read that there is the security office, there was the officers' corridor, and then the scientist quarters. Oh, and the station's crew quarters. Those were the signs you'd seen. You can go through the mess hall, which was connected to the scientist quarter. You can go through the crew quarters. Just try to find your way into the security office or the officers' corridor.
Leaning towards officers' quarter. Anybody have a difference of opinion? I feel
I
like
think that's our best bet.
I'm in.
Most likely to be able to blow up a ship.
Okay, who's taking the point then?
I mean, it was your idea there, and I'll push Cyrus forward.
Hey, that was an out of character suggestion.
Too late. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, I go first.
Come on. So as you open the door, you see that you get this terrible view of the outside. You're not expecting seeing through void windows when you're inside of like a belly of a ship like this. So you're startled at first, and you see the kind of sickly starlight that trickles through here. This corridor has had some intense fighting. You see some of the void glass is cracked. There are 3 dead officers that are strewn along. Some of them have missing limbs. There is gore slicked down the passageway. Various bits of organs on the ceiling. You're not sure what part of one of the officers that was because it's been masticated to a paste. and of course, very odd flickering lights. It is uneasy and terrible, and due to how these corpses have been so desecrated, I would like you, Oramus, to make me a resistance, a nerves check.
Okay, and I got one of those A and X tubes.
You can. I mean, if you'd like to retroactively stab yourself with one, I will certainly allow you to do that.
Yeah, I take my belt off, put it around my arm, and smack my vein a little bit, wake it up, and
I'm imagining this more like The Rock.
like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No. Apparently, you didn't date the prom queen. No. So just stab yourself, EpiPen style.
Okay, just like right in the leg. Cool. That's less like heroin. All right.
I feel that it's a little more narrative, and I'll certainly allow you to do that. As you feel the chemicals flooding in your leg and giving you that characteristic sting, you feel your nerves prickle. You have this heightened sense of awareness, and your breath catches in your throat as you both are inured to the horror of this and both somehow much more perceptive of everything. You can identify the organs that are plastered to the ceiling, but you don't want to tell your coworkers what they are. You're just more fascinated by it than horrified, but as soon as this drug wears off, you're just going to have nightmares about this for a long time. But what's really catching your attention is towards the end of the corridor, you see something on a stick that's white. It looks like it's a little flag. You're not sure if it's just the injector you shoved into your leg, but it looks like one of those cockroaches is carrying a little white flag and advancing slowly down the corridor towards you.
They're surrendering to us. Hey guys, I think they're trying to surrender. They're throwing their white flag over there. Like, look, just past the spleen. I approached the little guy and I'm like, hey there, champ. What you doing, buddy?
It looks at you and opens all of its mandibles and hisses in a guttural way, and then it hawks out a data tape.
Oh.
Okay. Is this your mixtape? You got a rapping career, buddy?
Listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to his mixtape.
I listened to his mixtape.
There is a there's a wash of static as you pop this into one of your data readers. There's a data port that's built into your collar, and it just loudly projects not out of your collar, but everyone's collar. Wash of static, and there's a raspy buzz, like there is a voice that's being repeated multiple times, and the voice greets itself as Dr. O'Granist. He says, "Welcome to the Skinstack Station. I would like you to come to..." And there's this hacking sound in the background, "to the wet lab. I have a proposition for you."
Perfect. Normal.
Anyone else want to go to a wet lab?
I mean,
And then-
I've been to worse places.
Mm-hmm.
The buzzing increases and almost like an oceanic tide, and it recedes. "I know you are criminals, and I can grant you freedom." And then with that, the tape cuts out.
Okay.
Define criminal.
Define
Find
freedom.
freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We're on the same page on this one. Freedom from the mortal coil is still freedom.
Yeah.
All right. I look at the little guy. I'm like, give us just a minute so we can have a group huddle, okay, buddy? We'll be right back. You just stay here.
Oh God.
I go back to the group and I'm just like, okay, guys, bring it in. I don't know how well they can hear us, so let's speak real softly, okay? So one of us should go blow up the thing, while others of us go hear him out, right?
I mean,
Like,
clearly.
that's the plan.
Yeah. No, that sounds about right.
I think we should split the party.
So who wants to go blow it up? Sardine, do you want to just go back to the ship?
If you give me one of those needles, I think I could do it.
I already used my man.
I'll hand it over.
Okay. So if you're handing it over, and
Yes.
I'll pop myself right in the rump, right in the
right in the
behind
cakes.
You know, here it
Yeah.
works better if you go
Do
into
it.
your eye socket. Just saying.
Right in the hollow marbles.
Yeah, and I'll inject myself right in the rump, and I'll say, if you don't hear from me in 30 minutes, come looking for me.
Sure thing, bro.
And I'll start heading down the officer's corridor.
All right.
So there are some very mangled bodies. You feel somewhere inside your lizard brain screaming in terror again, but you feel so great with drugs going through your system. It's great. It's wonderful. You see at the end of this corridor, it bifurcates into two different directions. One that continues forward where there is more cracked void glass, or you can take a 90-degree passage south where it looks like it's heading towards the mess hall. The continuing down, it seems like the signage is indicating it's going to put you in the direction of the officer's quarter or the reactor.
So I think I'm gonna start heading towards that reactor. If I'm trying to blow this mother up, I think that's probably my best bet.
All right, Sardine, you start heading that ways. The rest of you, what do you do in response to the bug's request for a parlay?
I'm going to the wet lab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hear him out.
The bug offers as much as you can figure out from the pantomiming of a bug that doesn't have any organelles close to yours. You believe you're supposed to follow this bug. It takes its little white picket flag and like plants it in some bit of flesh from one of the officers and trottles off back towards the scientist quarters that you had left previously. You pass through the mess hall and through a infirmary, which you see all kinds of terrible things that, had we had more time, would take a whole series of nerve resistance. But you find yourself in the wet lab. There are gurneys that are set up here. There's a stench of decay and old agar. You see large containment tubes that look to be broken up. And in the center of this, it looks like some surgical equipment from the infirmary has been moved in. You see at the far end of this room, cloaked in shadows, is a form that seems to be wearing a large white lab coat. But you notice very uncomfortably there's a lot of movement underneath the lab coat. That same discordant, buzzing drone voice greets you and says, "Welcome, Dirtbags." And then you hear this guy crackle sound. "Dirtbags, I am glad you received our message."
Dirtbag is our word.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think
Yeah,
he's allowed to
you don't
say
get to
it.
say that.
Yeah.
You were sent here to destroy this station, but I can, and when you hear this buzzing sound, we can offer you freedom in exchange for assistance.
What kind of freedom and what kind of assistance?
Mhm.
The bugs are not to be feared. We understand the bugs now. You can join with the bugs. You can be free. You can distribute your consciousness across the bugs. And you see as he opens his arms, he steps into the light, and his body is nothing but a mass of shifting beetles and strange bug forms.
Hey, remember that time you had a flamethrower?
Yeah.
That would have been really cool right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be really sweet if you had the second canister. You know, just
Yeah, I didn't find a second canister. But with that, as we're kind of having this little combo, it's like I know you don't have that second canister, but I do have this frag grenade. Now,
Almost as good.
almost as good. And
Not
as we say
cool,
almost
though.
as good, I'm gonna toss the pin and I'm gonna huck it at the pile of beetles.
Meanwhile, as you are pulling the pin, chucking this out at this beetle mass, as the camera pans over to Sardine, we see that he has approached the reactor door, and you have this mission of disarming, of activating the self-destruct switch. With that, there'll be a swell of dramatic music, and we will pause on a cliffhanger as we encourage our viewers to back Dirtbags on Kickstarter. This introductory module has a lot of different rooms to be explored, a lot of terrible bugs to face, and there's a lot of neat things you can do with this of the system. Very easy to pick up and learn. D6 dice pool. And when is your campaign launching?
So you'll be able to find Dirtbags going live on Kickstarter probably around mid-January or early February of 2025.
Beautiful.
That's fantastic. As we begin to start to wrap up our time for today, we have some announcements. First thing, again, thank you so much, Jean Luc, for joining us on the show, for introducing this game to us. And also, as a reminder, viewers, what's the best way for us to follow you on your social medias?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's plenty of ways. Obviously, if you're looking specifically for Dirtbags on Kickstarter, you can find that just by going and throwing that in the search engine there. But you can find me at the Dungeons Key on Blue Sky, Twitter, and my website is also www.thedungeonskey.com. You can find everything you're looking for there.
Fantastic. We'll have this posted on our socials. The other announcements that we'd like to make is that John Baltusberger has also kicked off a new Kickstarter today, Alter Shock. Alter Shock is a fast and nimble TTRPG that focuses on recapturing the glory days of arena-based RPGs, or first-person shooters. So if you liked Tribes, Doom, Quake Arena, and those kinds of games, this is a PvP TTRPG for you to play with your friends that is mini agnostic. This is a very short run, so by the time you hear this, there'll be 7 days left in the campaign. It's already hit its funding, so help John to unlock his stretch goals. Coming over also with other announcements. Are there any announcements from you, Kevin, about your shows? I know Icarus Thorn has had its adventure cycle. Any episodes you want to announce from the TOS?
We just did the season finale that came out last week. We are doing a holiday special that I'm currently editing right now, which the raw cut was like 3 hours and 46 minutes. So I've got some work ahead of me there, but that's going to come out later this month, right around Christmas time. So
Wonderful. So make sure if you're not following the Roll Standard to check that out and anticipate the holiday special. A couple other announcements worth checking out as far as Kickstarters. Our friend Caleb Engelke will be releasing his latest installment of Korg. That is coming out just a couple of days from now. Already has almost 700 pre-backer followers. So that is an exciting Kickstarter if you've enjoyed his minimalist pocket TTRPG, of which I've also served as an editor on. There's a couple of other neat projects in the works that we're excited to discuss with you, and other titles that are being released from Madness Heart Press. So please be sure to follow us on our socials and engagement to find out the new titles that are coming through that ways. But with that, we will go ahead and bring this to a close. Make sure that you back Dirtbags so you can figure out how your crew of expendable peons will, or I guess penal colonists will interact with the Bug Menace and Scourge. So thank you very much for joining us on this very consensual journey. I have been Ian Servas.
I've been Bridget Brave.
I'm Kevin Welch.
Mr. Paschke.
I'm Jean Luc. Thanks, guys, so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.